Uh, DLJ's back office knows that Chase will send them $50 million because I bought the $50 million, but I have to send them 7.1965 million Japanese yen. All right, that's the transaction. Chase back office gets the instruction, says send $50 million to DLJ and expect 7.1965 million Japanese yen. That's it. Or you can say yours. Okay, that means at what price? If as DLJ I say yours, what am I doing? If I say something is yours, I'm giving it to you. Since I'm not a charity, that means I'm selling it to you. I'm selling $50 million at the bid price of the other party. Okay. So mine means at ask, yours means at bid. This is the extent of one transaction. The conversation doesn't have to stop there. Okay, I could say, these guys are willing to sell. Let's say I said mine. At the time they gave me the initial offer, initial quote, they didn't know whether I was a buyer or seller. Okay. Suppose I'm interested in potentially buying more. I could say DLJ, and typically there is this transaction, there is this conversation that says, um, thanks, mate. I have used these things. This was before texting. DLJ to, uh, I'm just going to do this. Could say, that means how now? That literally means if I was to ask you a quote for another $50 million, what would have been your quote? Because the first one is valid only for 50 million. If I wanted to buy 100, I cannot buy it at that price. And Chase may say, same for 200. Says, if you're willing to buy or sell, I'm going to give you the same quote up to $200 million. And you decide maybe you want 100 more, or since I know that these guys are going to buy, I can say 143.91, 95. I mean, I don't want my bid to go over 93 because they can simply sell it to me and make money. But I increase my offer. Yes. Oh yeah. 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 Pretty much. Pretty much. Bloomberg is a lot more common these days, especially for bond kind of transactions. But for foreign exchange, it's either Reuters or Bloomberg. That's it. Yeah. No, this is bank to bank. And you can buy and sell over $1 billion within seconds. And by the way, this when I worked at DLJ, and those screens were huge, especially the backs of them, because they were not flat screens. I had four 32-inch screens, I mean, you could not even move those things. They were so heavy. And I could have four different transactions in four different screens. Or screen is big enough, I can put four windows. I could trade with 16 different people at the same time. Maybe you get an offer from Chase, and you get another offer from, Bank of America. You can buy one from one and sell to the other. But because everybody else does this, and these transactions are also reported to Reuters, and Reuters shows on their screen these are the latest transactions. So these prices also move over time. And you could say as DLJ, okay, mine for 100 or yours for 100, what have you. And that could continue all the way. That's basically how things work. And these are typically at the hands of very young junior traders. They have a certain limit. They cannot do more than this much exposure. Back in summer of 98, uh, I think it was early August, we went out as the entire derivative desk and the uh, prop desk. Prop is short for proprietary. And we were having dinner at the banks of the Thames River. Suddenly, we got a call from our economist in Russia. This guy was very connected. He said, tomorrow they're going to declare moratorium uh, on foreign exchange payments, which was a uh, software for default. They basically said, okay, we're supposed to pay you this $100 million worth of bonds. If you want to be paid in rubles, but at the official exchange rate, we'll pay you. Otherwise, we won't. They didn't even allow private banks to pay in dollars and stuff. That meant, ruble was going to collapse. In fact, the Friday close was about 6:30. $1 bought 630 rubles. Monday it opened at 30. Okay, so ruble lost almost 80% of its value overnight. But that also had differential effects on dollar and Deutschmark. Deutschmark, Germany was a lot more exposed to Russia, so it was obvious that Deutschmark was going to collapse against dollar. We came in 5 a.m. London time. We basically, and this was not common knowledge yet. Our derivative desk had a limit of $500 million. We bought $500 million worth of dollars and sold Deutschmarks against. We made a killing out of that. We lost a lot of money on ruble related stuff, but at least it covered some of it. The guy who was in charge of prop trading of major currencies, he had a limit of $1 billion. He did this for $5 billion. I mean, he made a friggin' killing out of it. And DLJ was kind of a cannibalistic place. They didn't particularly care what you did to make money. If you made money, you were rewarded, except when you exceeded your limit. The guy was fired the next day because at the end of the day, you go through a P&L and back office tells you this guy exceeded your limit. If you exceeded your limit even by $1, it was a fireable offense. I mean, for little stuff, they didn't do anything, but if they kind of didn't like you for something else, they could have used that as an excuse. He made crap loads of money to the firm, and he was fired the next day. That's called risk management. When do you guys remember a bank called Barings Bank? It was a British bank. It was known as the Queen's Bank. Okay, it was known as one of the most conservative banks uh, in Britain. And these guys at the end of 94, 95 were sold to ING, which is a Dutch bank, for £1. And here's how that happened. They had this kid who was in charge of arbitrage trades in their Singapore office. And the arbitrage was there are two markets where Nikkei 225 futures are quoted. One is in Tokyo, one is in Singapore. Every once in a while, there is an arbitrage opportunity. You could buy it at a lower price in Tokyo, sell it higher in Singapore, or vice versa. And since there's kind of this is being 90s, communication speed wasn't as good. There were opportunities, and this guy was good at it, and he made the company quite a bit of money. And as you make money for the company, you get promoted.